Yo, guys, I hope you're well. So, guys, on April the 1st, in little more than 2 weeks' time, our council tax bills will be increasing, and they'll be increasing by more than the 2.5% rate of inflation. Some up to 5%, and some even more. So, on April the 1st, April Fool's Day, how fitting, our bills will be going up. But do any of you remember how Keir Starmer said all the way through the election campaign that council tax bills will be frozen? He'll freeze the bills on council taxes. Guys, if you don't remember, listen to this.
For families across the country, life is just too expensive now. Energy bills are up, the weekly shop is up, wages are not up. 24 Tory tax hikes since Rishi Sunak took over as Chancellor. After 13 years, so many people are feeling worse off. And on top of that, now council tax rises coming through the door. People saying, how on earth am I going to manage to pay that?
How on earth am I going to manage to pay that? And yet Keir Starmer has increased our council tax bills by 2.5% more than the rate of inflation. Really?
I'm determined to put money back in the pockets of working people. And that's why a Labour government would freeze council tax this year. No ifs, no buts.
Hold on. So he said a Labour government would freeze council tax bills this year. No ifs, no buts, no maybes. Hold on.
Would freeze council tax this year. No ifs, no buts. With a Labour government, you could rip up that council tax bill because you would not pay a penny more than you paid last year.
So with a Labour government, you can rip up that council tax bill because you will not pay a penny more than you did last year. You heard it from the horse's mouth. I'm not saying it. It's this bloke, Keir Starmer, saying it. Hold on, if you don't believe me, let's rewind.
No buts. With a Labour government, you could rip up that council tax bill because you would not pay a penny more than you paid last year. We would fund it by having a proper windfall tax on oil and gas companies.
So he said that they're going to fund this by having a proper windfall tax bill on oil and gas companies. And I've been saying that for a long time. So the oil and gas companies and the energy companies in particular have made record profits year on year on year. But this government is hand in hand with these energy companies. They are allowing the energy companies to basically charge us what they will, what they may, what they want. And he's not going to them and saying to them, you need to take up the slack. But he's putting the slack on us, the customers, the British citizens. Really? What do you think about it? Really?
Because you would not pay a penny more than you paid last year. We would fund it by having a proper windfall tax on oil and gas companies who've made a fortune.
See, who've made a fortune.
Politics is about choices. And the Tories have chosen to give a tax cut to the richest 1%. Labour would make different choices. We would have a fully funded, quickly deliverable council tax freeze.
So he says Labour will have a fully funded, quickly deliverable council tax freeze. Remember that in 2 weeks' time, when you get the bills dropping in on your doorstep, just remember, Starmer said there'll be a council tax freeze
that would help working families across the country. This is personal to me.
Hear this? This is where he got all his training from his speech coordinator or speech therapist or speech whoever it was during the lockdown. Really? He said, this is personal to me. So he's reeling us in. This is how they reel people in. This is personal to me. Really? Really?
Working families across the country. This is personal to me. When I was growing up, I knew what it was like not to be able to pay the bills.
Hold on. Can someone fact check that? So Keir Starmer said when he was growing up, he knew what it was like not to be able to pay the bills. I want someone to fact check if that is correct.
Personal to me. When I was growing up, I knew what it was like not to be able to pay the bills. Our phone was cut off that way.
So were the Starmer's phone ever cut off because they couldn't pay the bills? Please, someone fact check that. Please.
Across the country. This is personal to me. When I was growing up, I knew what it was like not to be able to pay the bills. Our phone was cut off that way. And that's why I'm determined that a Labour government will stand by working people. A vote for Labour on Thursday, the 4th of May, is a vote to build a better Britain.
So, guys, this is just one instance of Keir Starmer basically, in my opinion, not telling the truth. He said throughout this 1 minute 30 odd second political broadcast that there was no way that the Labour government would increase your council tax bills. So in 2 and a bit weeks' time, please remember that, and please tell me, what do you think about Keir Starmer saying that they won't increase your council tax bills? They will go to the oil and gas, the energy companies, and charge them with their windfall tax to be able to fund not increasing your bill. So where you get your 5%, in some places 7.5%, and I've heard of other councils requesting 20 to 25% increases, which thankfully haven't been allowed. But when you see the rate of inflation at 2.5%, but your council tax bills at 5%, and guys, remember one thing as well, I've seen a lot of these things that have made my toes curl, because some part of your council tax bill is there to fund the police. But when you see people shoplifting from stalls, from kiosks, from all sorts of venues, and if you understand that those prices rise because of shoplifters, and the shoplifters have been given carte blanche because the police will not arrest them, do you think your council tax is going to the right place? And are you happy with seeing shoplifters just taking what they want from stores and shops, and then for us to be charged with picking up the slack? Just remember that when your council tax bill hits your front doorstep and you're paying 5%, 7.5%, potentially even more, just remember that. And just remember that this bloke, Keir Starmer, said that your council tax will be frozen under a Labour government. Guys, let me know down here in the comment section what you think. But make certain you look after yourselves, you look after each other, and please come back to the next Torn It TV reaction. Guys, take care.